here. Ice Spear. Making use of my Ice Barrier. Freeze again for the Chilling Mist. Blink Baited. Freeze the face. Freeze! Instant freeze. Hello everybody, once again, this is AikawaKazu and welcome back to another Knowing Your Skills video. No more ladder series for at least one day. You know, we upload one video every day on my channel so far. For the past 1 to 2 weeks, I'm trying to keep that up here, but not just to make sure that you guys don't get overloaded with too much PvP. So we're back with some PvE video here, even though I actually uploaded the Gladiator skill build guide and insights as well. But today we are here for doing our Ice Barrier EX, and of course, I realized that if I'm going to talk about Ice Barrier EX, there we go, we always get one guy following when we are doing Knowing Your Skills. Kurok! Welcome to 100% Positive Stream and Chat. I hope you enjoy the stay here. Back to KYS. So you can't really do Ice Barrier EX KYS without talking about Ice Stack, and I realized that I have not done how to or knowing to Ice Stack video before, so I'm going to put this together. But one thing you need to know is this is pre-Elestra revamp. Okay, this is pre-Elestra revamp because I'm going to do one more video after, and then you can compare and contrast which do you think is better, you know. So we have the pre-revamp values and way of ice stacking, and then we have the post. But I'll still talk about it nevertheless. So let's get to it straight away here. I'm using Liz character. For those who do not know, I'm just going to announce it, make it official. Liz has quit Dragon Nest, so that's why I'm using a character now rather than she playing it, because she is not into Dragon Nest anymore, I guess. That's the way I'll put it. And she's quite busy with other stuff, so like cosplaying if you guys saw her. So she won't be playing Dragon Nest for now. But let's get to the skill itself. Alright, Ice Barrier EX. Okay. First we take a look at Ice Barrier. You can see that in PvE, at level 4 you have 165% of your M attack strength, which is actually basically how much you can tank, how much damage you can take before the Ice Barrier breaks, correct? And when the Ice Barrier breaks, what happens? Alright, blows up to freeze nearby enemies. So when your Ice Barrier breaks, nearby enemies around you will get frozen. More often than not, this skill is more commonly seen or utilized in PvP before level 80 because you cannot destroy the Ice Barrier manually. So what does Ice Barrier EX do? Ice Barrier EX gives you the ability to manually destroy your Ice Barrier, which is extremely good for PvP. If you have not watched my ladder series for Elestra, Lisbeth, where I got from 1800 to 1900 ratings, make sure to go watch that one where I use Ice Barrier EX detonation extremely, I won't say extremely, but I want to say I used it many times for me to secure a victory. So for PvP, Ice Barrier EX is phenomenal, but that also means that in PvE, it is very good to help you maintain your ice tag, even though Ice Barrier freeze only lasts for 2.5 seconds. Alright, so what else about Ice Barrier EX that you must know? Alright, this is actually missed out by a lot of people, especially the PvP dudes. Alright, when you actually break your Ice Barrier EX, or when your Ice Barrier breaks for the EX version, you actually get a 20% increase in water attack, or ice attack for that matter. They call it water attribute, or I'm gonna call it ice attack. It's more logical, I guess, cause Ice Barrier, right? So when your Ice Barrier breaks by damage, alright, you get a 20% damage increase. And if you read further down the skill description here, you realize that enter the skill button again within 5 seconds to increase the water attack by 40%. So the big question is this: so do I get 40% or do I get 20%? The answer to this is it actually adds up to 60%. Alright, so if I'm going to showcase here, if you look at my elemental attack info here, I have plus 20 from your level 65 passive skill, Chilling Master. And then if I break Ice Barrier right now, or rather Ice Barrier EX, you can see it was 53 first, and then it became 93. So 33 and 53 is 20%. You get 20% when the Ice Barrier breaks, and after a short half a second, you get the next 40%. You get a total of 60%, and in the end, you get 93% ice attack. That is almost 100% damage increase to your ice element, which is pretty good if you think about it. But the only downfall, or the only shortfall, or the only balancing factor of that is that it only lasts for 10 seconds. Alright, only 10 seconds. And this is where I talk about after revamp, when you get the revamp for Elestra, where you get the frozen burst. Alright, when you get frozen burst, okay, your Ice Barrier damage increase is halved. You get your first 10% first, and then after that you get 20%. So instead of 60%, you get only 30% ice attack. So this is something that you need to know. This 60% ice attack increase will be nerfed in the future. But the consolidating factor is that the buff lasts for 50 seconds. So in future, Ice Barrier EX water attack increase will last for 50 seconds, or rather 51 seconds. And currently it's only 10 seconds, alright? Currently it's only 10 seconds. And right now we have, I think, Elestra. Elestra is actually following the channel as well. Welcome to the stream, to the 100% positive stream and chat. I hope you enjoy the stay here. But let's move on. So PvE is a 60% ice attack increase, and PvP you're looking at 30% ice attack increase. And I think when they revamp for the frozen burst in the future, I think for PvP there will not be any changes. Let's see, frozen burst. I actually do not know if it actually works in PvE. I'm assuming it is, but I think the ice barrier, elemental attack increase will be still around 30%. Can't confirm. I'll be doing another video to showcase the post Elestra revamps as well, so don't worry about that. But for now, it is 60% for PvP and 30%. Sorry, 60% for PvE and 30% for PvP. So note that the ice attack increase is actually there. So a lot of people don't actually use Ice Barrier EX for damage increase. They use Ice Barrier EX to freeze. Alright, that's not all about Ice Barrier EX. I mean, you get a free ice stack for 2.5 seconds, but that's not all about your Ice Barrier EX. There's more about Frozen Burst. When you cast Frozen Burst, you cannot all frozen states of things around you will be removed, that kind of stuff. But we'll get to that when we get revamped. So I won't talk about that too much. So right now we're going to showcase something else, which is about how to ice stack in using Elestra, and meanwhile we also showcase the Ice Barrier EX damage increase. So we'll go to Typhoon Kim Nest, my favorite place to showcase damage. Get the ice shoe on. We're going to try dispose of Orc Quark very quickly here, even though I'm still using level 60 weapons, even though I'm level 80. Alright, so now we are with Mr. Gardener Garland alone. We'll go and take the blacksmith staff, and where is the orb? Oh no, spellbook. There we go. So the reason why I took it off is because my weapons have the intellect suffix 3, which will increase my elemental damage because of the elemental debuff from him. So what about ice stack, guys? What about ice stack? The first thing you guys need to know is ice stack increases damage. Duh, we know that, but we need to show it, right? Because some people don't know. Some people don't know, alright? So you can see that my normal attack right now is about 7.5k, right? So one ice stack will give you 50% damage increase. Look at that. 11.3 right now. 50% damage increase. And double ice stack will give you 100% damage increase. So I'm gonna do Ice Spear. Yeah, few. And you can see that my damage right now is 15,000. Previously it was 7,000, right? 7.5k times 2. There you go, 15,000. So double ice stack gives you 100% increase in damage, or 2 times more damage, pretty much. So a 7.5k with double ice stack will give you 15k. So that's like the fundamentals. You must know this, alright? You can ice stack twice. So now I'm going to talk a bit about the post Elestra revamp. When Elestra is revamped, ice stack damage increase is only 30%, alright? But they actually increase the amount of layers you can stack to 4, alright? But you can only stack 4, but the damage increase is still 100%. You cannot get to 120%. So essentially, as an Elestra after revamp, you need to maintain 3 layers of ice stack. Why? Because it's around 90% damage increase, which is close to 100. So as long as you can maintain 3 stacks of ice, you're fine. So how do you maintain 3 stacks of ice? You see, look at Ice Spear, right? If you look at Ice Spear, a lot of people have this misconception where they think they get double stack with Ice Spear. You don't. You don't get double stack with Ice Spear. Look at that. 10k. I don't get 20,000 damage, you see. It's only 50% damage increase here. I only get 11,000 damage up from 7.5k. So Ice Spear itself does not stack ice, even though you see a lot of explosion, right? Damn awesome. But you don't get 2 ice stacks from Ice Spear. A lot of people don't know this. I'm serious. A lot of Elestras just cast, frozen spikes, and then, they cast Ice Spear and like, yeah, I did my job as ice stacker. No. You only increase damage by 50%. So Ice Spear, ice stack doesn't stack. To essentially do ice stack, you need to combine 2 different skills together. Alright? So before Ice Spear actually existed, they are looking like, let me decrease the... I'll talk about this later as well. So I'm going to do a Glacier Wave. And then what people do is they'll do a Glacier Spike Freeze. Last time. Alright? My Glacier Spike is currently level 1 because I'm in my PvP build. What am I doing? But basically, in the past, people use, Glacier Wave and then they do Glacier Spike to get the 100% damage increase. Of course, with Freezing Field EX, with Ice Spear, things become a lot better and easier for Elestras, alright? So it's very simple. Now it's only 7.5k damage. Alright? You do a Glacial Wave, and then you do Ice Spear, you will see 15,000 times 2. So this is like the simplest way to do Ice Stack, alright? So to get 2 stacks, Glacial Wave plus Ice Spear, done. Why? Glacial Wave, freeze duration, 8 seconds. Awesome, right? 8 seconds. Ice Spear duration, also 8 seconds at level 11. It wasn't 8 seconds in the past, guys, just FYI. That's why when you use Ice Spear, the freeze state keep refreshing. So Glacial Wave and Ice Spear basically gives you 8 seconds of confirmed 100% damage increase, which is essentially the timing where your party members can burst the classes. Burst with their DPS damage, my bad. Okay, what else? What else about Ice Stack, alright? So the next thing about Ice Stack is the ice or cold resistance reduction, or essentially your water elemental resistance reduction. So what does that do for you? Water or ice elemental resistance reduction essentially increases the duration of your freeze, alright? It increases the duration of freeze. So let's count together right now. Here's Glacial Wave, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, break. There we go. So now you can see there's your break at 8,000, right? Correct? So if you actually applied a 10% cold resistance, for example, if you look at the skills that give you cold resistance, Frostwind, 10%, alright? Freezing Swords, 10%, alright? And then you have Freezing Fuel, another 10%, and Frozen Spikes, 10%, alright? So, what it essentially does is increase the duration by 10%. So if you have 8 seconds of Ice Stack, alright, for the duration where the cold resistance is applied, you're gonna get 9 seconds. So I'm gonna do a very simple showcase here with, let's see, finding something that lasts the longest, I think Frostwind, alright? So we're gonna do Frostwind and then Glacial Wave, and then we're gonna count together after this beautiful skill from the boss. Alright, let's go inside. Frostwind. And then 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, break. You see? For the duration when the cold resistance is down, you can see that now it's 10 seconds. Alright. So essentially, if you want to be a good ice stacking person for Elestra, like you want to be a good ice stacker, you always have to apply your cold resistance debuff first. Alright, then we come to a point. Hey Kazu, you know, we have 10% here, we have 10% from Chilling Mist, 10% from Frozen Spikes, 10% from Frostwind, 10% for Icy Shards. Can I stack up to 50% and then increase it almost 1.5 times? No! The thing is because ice resistance do not stack across the 10% here. But if you look at Frozen Burst, which is after Elestras get a revamp, the cold resistance that you do before Frozen Burst and the cold resistance that you do after Frozen Burst actually stacks. So for post-revamp Elestra, you're looking at 20% cold resistance reduction. So that is one thing you need to note. But currently there's only 10%. No matter how many skills you chain together, that 10% doesn't change. So I'm going to show you a proof, alright? So very simple. It will test with Glacial Spike. So I'm going to show you a Glacial Spike here. You can see 4.6k, 4.5k damage, correct? So essentially 10% Ice Stack will give you, 10% cold resistance reduction will give you 20% more damage. Debuff is always twice, guys, for those who don't know. Like if you have, I mentioned in the light party video, party video where I showcase the Inquisitor and Crusader, 85% light resistance debuff is actually equivalent to 1.6 times 1.6 damage. So 1.6 times the damage, alright? So 10% Ice Stack will give you 20% more damage. So if you look at the math here, we should be looking at 1.2 times 4.5. Should be looking at 5.4k damage from the Glacial Spike after I use Frozen Spikes here. So we use Frozen Spikes here. And here we go. Got a crit here, so I can't really see, but it's 10k, which 10k times 2, if you divide by 2, essentially it's about 5k. So you can see that it's 10%, right? So now I'm going to use two skills. I'm going to use Freezing Swords and Frozen Spikes, which if it stacks, we will get more than, you'll get 40% increase. But you can see it's still 10k, it's still 5k here. So we have shown that those skills or ice resistance reduction do not stack for Elestras. So Frozen Spikes, Frostwind, Freezing Swords, Freezing Fuel, they do not essentially give you anything more than 10% of hold resistance. Try not to overstack, guys. Try not to overstack. Like a lot of people will always do this. Like what they'll do is they will, for example, frozen spikes, your ice spear, it's easy, alright? And then glacier wave, and then they don't wait. They don't wait the 8 seconds and then they do a freezing field. So you realize that you cannot stack for as long as you want to if you do that. So basically use freezing field as one of the skills to extend your ice stack, because freezing field ice stack duration is 5 seconds. So you're essentially looking at 8 seconds, and then at like 10 seconds, because you did the cold resistance reduction, you cast a freezing field to keep it there, and then you cast a glacial spike as well to keep at least one layer, or if you're a good ice stacker, 2 layers up for like 15 seconds. And why 15 seconds? Because provoking slam lasts for 15 seconds. Many of the burst DPS skills, like even beyond time, I think beyond time lasts for 22 seconds or something, can't remember, but basically if you can maintain 15 seconds of ice stack, you would have done your job as the ice stacking Elestra. So I help Elestras out there, or Elestras to be, or people who do not know Elestras. You know, ice stacking is not as simple as pressing ice spear and, you know, there you go. It's simple like this, okay? So tell your Elestra friends who are playing with you to know how to ice stack 2 layers properly, you know. It's important, because I've seen so many Elestras just do 1 stack and, you know, it doesn't bring out the potential damage of the team. So fellow other classes, if you have an Elestra friend, share with them this video, let them know how to do 2 ice stacks and to maintain those 2 ice stacks as well, and let them know about how ice stacking actually works. And of course we'll do a video after the Elestra revamp is here. But now we'll move on, we'll go straight to the PvP part of Ice Barrier EX and Ice Stack. Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the PvP segment for knowing your Ice Barrier EX and Ice Stack. So the first thing you need to know is that, you know, we don't get 100% damage increase anymore when you damage a PvP opponent. It used to be the case, okay, and then it got nerfed and it got nerfed and it got nerfed. It got nerfed so much that ice stack damage increase is only 10%. Alright, so you look at this thing here, it's 180 damage, 1 glacial wave, 197, basically about 18 damage more. But you can still do 2 ice stacks in PvP, but the problem is, look at your glacial wave, 4 seconds, alright, ice spear, also 4 seconds. So you have a lot shorter duration to do damage within the double stack. So remember to talk about ice resistance reduction, it works the same for PvP. So if I do a frost wind and I do a glacial wave, 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000, 7000, 8000, bam. You can see that I counted pretty fast, okay, I think it's around 5000. So about 4, instead of 4 seconds for PvP, like we do this, 2, 3, 4, bam, comes out. Alright, there we go. But if we have frostwind, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bam, correct. I was gonna say bam after the 5 actually. So it's correct. So you can see that the duration is increased by about 2 seconds. Because why? 10% debuff means what? 20%. Correct? Not 10%. Remember guys, debuff is always twice. So the duration is increased by 2 seconds. From 6 seconds. So remember to do this and then do glacial wave. Alright, so very important, okay? So just to show you guys that double ice stack do exist, we'll do the same thing. But this time we'll add in the ice spear. You can see that now it should be around 200 damage normal attack. Okay, I flopped. You can see that the... Basically what happened is, if you know, right guys, like if you do glacial wave and if you do poison spray, you actually cause the ice break to break faster. So you'll not do ice spear with freezing field, because ice spear itself has a lot of it's multiple hits as well. So it actually destroys the first layer of ice very quickly, just like how poison spray breaks it. So what we'll do is do this, we'll do glacial wave, and then we'll do this, and then man, the freezing field didn't freeze because PvP. I think I got a better idea. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do ice spear. Okay, then when it's away, then there we go, guys. 210 damage. 210 damage. Up from look at that. That was a 1 layer gone. when we hit 1-9 something, and then no more layers. So there you go, 2 stacks here. And most importantly in PvP, Ice Elemental Reduction is very important because this 20% essentially means 20% more damage from your skills. Alright, so we're going to do Chilling Mist here. You can see it's about 600, and you can see the damage actually went up progressively. It was 630, and then it went up to 680, and then the last one was 700. But this guy has very high defense, so it's not really a good person to showcase the damage. But you can see, let's try another skill. Let's see. Right, so Freezing Swords. This is why you see that the damage at the back is more, because it's 20% more than the. It's basically 800, and then the back damage is 900. It's 20% more. Essentially, ice resistance reduction is very important for PvP. Why? Number 1, it keeps your targets frozen longer. Number 2, you do 20% more damage. So remember these two when you do PvP and when you're ice stacking in PvP as well. And of course, to make the mistake I made, when you know a lot of people do this and they do poison spray. And in my PvP video, I made the mistake of doing glacial wave here, and you can see the ice actually breaks super fast. So the correct way of doing it is this. You wait, push him back to the poison spray. I think that was still too early, but you can see it lasted a lot longer this time. Look at that. That's pretty long, right? So make sure you do it the right way. Use a glacial wave after your poison spray has finished. And what else? Alright, let's go to Ice Barrier EX, okay? So just to show you guys the 30% elemental increase. See, it's 15 first, and then another 20%. So you get 5% plus another 10%, and then another 20% to get 35. So where did the 5 come from? The 5 comes from here, Chilling Master, guys. Just to let you know, the freeze. Which means Ice Barrier Freeze is essentially, or Ice Barrier EX Freeze is not essentially for you to actually freeze the target and do damage. What you essentially use it for is this. Go close to the guy, he's frozen. This gives you the time to set up Ice Spear. And then you go for the easy Chilling Mist. Bam. A lot of damage. Chilling Mist is crazy damage in PvP, even in compensation on. So, what else? What else do I want to mention? Yes, one last thing I missed out in the PvE segment. The detonation actually gives you the 30% increase, you realize, right? Correct? Okay, 30%. So what happens if you miss the 5 seconds detonation period? Okay, number 1, you cannot detonate anymore. Number 2, it can still be detonated manually. Alright, it can still be detonated manually, but Ice Barrier only lasts for how long? I think it's 15 seconds, right? Let's cast it now. Okay, it's 20 seconds. Ice Barrier lasts for 20 seconds. So if you do not detonate your Ice Barrier EX, you essentially lose the 20% for PvP, and you also lose your 40% for PvE. Which means detonate your Ice Barrier EX as much as you can, because it essentially increases it increases the damage that you do by a lot, especially in PvE. Alright, I mean PvE you're looking at a 60% damage increase, like 40% ice elemental attack gone is essentially very significant. For PvP, it's 20%, I would say that it's still very significant, which is why you see so many people on my latter video, assassins getting destroyed, usually after they are frozen by the Ice Barrier EX. Because you get 30% damage increase from ice elements, and 30% damage increase in PvP is crazy. It's actually pretty crazy. Alright guys, I missed out one very important thing about Ice Barrier EX, which is its possible ability to freeze skills where they are in iframe. But according to Soul Handy, Ice Barrier can no longer freeze skills that have iframe, aka the one that usually happens will be Hurricane Dance. So right now, X-Gon here, Elemental, will HGP the TEGaming. So you can see that it doesn't work. So this is a quick one to show you that Ice Barrier EX or Ice Barrier itself can no longer freeze targets that are in iframe. So you can see that Ice Barrier EX has been broken, or Ice Barrier has been broken, and Classifier, which is Queen here, did not get frozen. So myth busted, guys! Ice Barrier no longer ignore iframe. So the bug fix is still there. Yep. I think that's it from me. for Ice Barrier EX, and I hope you guys enjoyed the ice stacking little tutorial as well. If you are not informed, or if your friends who play Elestra are not informed, show them this video to show them how to ice stack in PvE and in PvP. And remember, we'll do a post Elestra Revamp KYS as well. Obviously that'll be more about Frozen Burst, and of course how much DPS increase you can do, that kind of stuff. And then we'll leave it for that until it's here, you know. We don't know, maybe it's 50,000 years later. And beautiful to end off the video with AikawaKazu. Oh man, interesting name. AikawaKazu, welcome to 100% Fast Stream and Chat. And for those on the YouTube, thanks for watching once again. God bless, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.